What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today's topic, we're going to take a look and listen to President Biden. He's going to be talking about his first 100 days, what he wants to do in his first 100 days. And guess what? Social Security is a part of the first 100 days. So we're going to take a look and listen to this. But first off, you guys can do me two favors. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Okay, so I've been waiting to hear President Biden talk more about Social Security and Medicare. We now have him saying a little bit about what he wants to do. Now, he's not really giving us details, okay? I'd like to hear details. I'd like to hear a proposal that he supports. I really would like to hear him say, I support the Social Security 2100 Act, but he does talk about an expansion to Social Security. And that's good because I've heard President Biden before talk about Social Security, but he just says that we're not going to cut Social Security and we're going to protect Social Security. He's actually talking about expanding Social Security. So after we watch this clip, I'll talk a little bit about what expansion means compared to just saying protecting Social Security. So let me go ahead. I'll play the clip first, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. I'm going to play the whole thing. Now, he talks about some other things too, but just so I don't want to cut the clip off, so we'll play his first 100 days, what he wants to do. Here we go.
So today I'm going to start by laying out the first 100 days of my second term. And here it is. The first bill I'm going to introduce will restore Roe v. Wade to make it the law of the land. I will sign the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. We're not only going to stop Trump and the MAGA Republicans from cutting Social Security and Medicare, we'll expand and strengthen Social Security and Medicare. And here's how we're going to do it. Press always asks how. Listen, press, by making the rich pay their fair share of Social Security. And we're going to end medical debt. By that I mean we've already made sure medical debt can no longer be put on your credit report. We can wipe out medical debt for pennies on the dollar. We're going to raise the federal minimum wage. We're going to pass the PRO Act, ending union busting once and for all. And I'm going to ban assault weapons again. I did it once, I'm going to do it again. We're going to keep leading the world. We are on climate and clean energy. When I signed the American Rescue Plan, the law expanded child care tax credit to cut child poverty in half in America, and it did. Republicans let it expire. I'm going to make child care tax cut permanent. And by the way, it increases economic growth, doesn't increase the deficit. People can work when you have child. No, I'm serious. That's the deal. We capped the cost of insulin for seniors at $35, totally cost. And no senior beginning on 2025 is going to have to pay more than $2,000 a year for all their prescription drugs, including cancer drugs that are $10,000, $12,000, $14,000 a year. And my second term, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make that same plan available for every single American. Again, saving the federal government hundreds of billions of dollars over time. We're going to make housing more affordable. That means taking on corporate greed and getting the rents down. We're going to build 2 million housing units and cap rent increases at 5% a year so corporate landlords can no longer gouge everyone like they do. We can do this.
Okay, so that was a little of what he wants to do in his first 100 days. I didn't play the whole clip. I just played the portion that I really want to talk about today. And the main thing is he was talking about Social Security, Medicare. He also talked about the child tax credit, which I thought was important to mention. But he talked about expanding Social Security, okay, and Medicare. This is what we want to hear because right now you have lawmakers that are talking about cutting Social Security and Medicare. You have some lawmakers that are not talking about it at all. They're trying to avoid talking about the topic. Then you have some lawmakers that are saying we want to protect, but not only protect, we want to expand Social Security. We want to provide an increase for people receiving Social Security benefits. So I'm glad to hear that the president is on the side of expanding Social Security, not just protecting Social Security. That's good. That means that he is, for the most part, in favor of some type of a proposal that has an expansion in it, like the Social Security 2100 Act or Senator Bernie Sanders' plan. So this is all good news when it comes to what he is saying. Now, I have to say this. It's okay to listen to what the president's saying, but you also need to understand how this process works. Okay, the president doesn't have the power just to say, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to do this. He right now is saying what he wants to do in his first 100 days. But guess what? He needs cooperation. He needs Congress to go along with what he wants to do in the first 100 days. And so what I mean by that is we're talking about, and I'll give the example of Social Security reform. If you want to expand Social Security, you need Congress to do their job and legislate and actually pass these bills in order for us to see any type of an expansion of Social Security. Same thing when you talked about the child tax credit. You need Congress to pass a bill that provides a child tax credit in order for us to see that happen. So these things are out of the president's control when it comes to doing it on his own. He can't do that. Now, it's good to hear that you have a president that supports legislation like this because the president usually is the leader of the party. So if they're the leader of the party and you have people in Congress, those people in Congress should try to look at what the president wants and move that legislation forward, okay? So that's good, but you still need to have the numbers. And let's talk a little bit about the numbers when it comes to Congress. Right now, we have split government. The House is being run by Republicans. The Senate is being run by Democrats. It's very hard to get legislation done when you have a situation like that. Now, even the first 2 years of Biden's administration, we had Democrats controlling the House and Democrats controlling the Senate. And President Biden is a Democrat. So they had the numbers, right? Well, not so fast. In the House, yes, they had the numbers. They could pass whatever they wanted to pass in the House. But in the Senate, you need 60 votes in order to move legislation. And so what that means is at the time, you had 50 Democrats and 50 Republicans. And then you had Kamala Harris, a vice president, coming in to break the tie. So in essence, in the Senate, the Democrats controlled the Senate, but it was a 50-50 split. And you also needed 60 votes in order to pass legislation. So you needed 10 Republicans to vote for any legislation for it to pass. And so just because you're looking at the numbers and you're saying, well, Democrats, because I hear this all the time. In the comments, you guys say this all the time, or not all of you guys, but some people will say this in the comments. Well, the first 2 years, the Democrats controlled the House, the Democrats controlled the Senate, and President Biden didn't get anything done. He still needs to go through, they still need Republicans in order to pass legislation in the Senate. That is how things work. And so that's why we see a lot of gridlock. That's why you see things not moving forward, even though you have Democrats controlling, or if Republicans the same side, if you have Republicans controlling things, they can't, you have to work together. And we no longer have Congress that works together. They very rarely will work together to get legislation done, unless it's dire, unless it's a situation where it has to get done. Then they'll work together just for that, and then they'll go back to their corners and they won't work together anymore. Okay, so if you have a hard deadline that you have to meet, or you're looking at a government shutdown, stuff like that, then they'll come together, they'll work together. But when it comes to legislation like Social Security and moving forward with things like that, they drag their feet. And unfortunately, they could drag their feet for another 10 years, and we'll be in the same place until that trust fund runs out of money. And then we'll be looking at about a 23% cut to benefits. So that's unfortunate that we don't have Congress that works together. I wish they would come together and say, look, let's move forward with legislation. We have the opportunity to do that. We have the president on our side. Just start passing legislation. I said this too many times already. Right now, there's an opportunity for the Senate to pass, or at least try to pass legislation. Now, like I said, they need 60 votes in the Senate. They don't have those numbers. The Democrats need 60 votes. So let's say if they wanted to move forward with the Social Security 2100 Act or a bill similar to that. So the Social Security 2100 Act is in the House right now, but let's say they wanted to pass something very similar to that in the Senate. They have legislation. They have proposals that are out there already in the Senate. Pass one of those proposals, or at least try to pass it. They still need this. They need 60 votes, so they're going to need Republicans to support it, but you could still bring it to the floor. Bring it to the floor for a vote and let them vote it down, and then talk about, look, we're trying to help people on Social Security. We're trying to expand Social Security, and we have senators right now in Congress that do not want to move forward with legislation. That's what they need to do. But they won't do it, and I don't know why. I don't know why. You could at least attempt to try to pass it. If you bring it to the floor for a vote, you're going to have lawmakers that are going to, and basically it would be a provisional vote. It wouldn't be actually they're voting for reforming Social Security, but they would vote to open up a debate on reforming Social Security. So let's just go that far. And if they don't want to even open up a debate, now you can criticize the fact that you have senators that don't even want to open up a debate. They don't even want to talk about reforming Social Security and expanding Social Security. So that's what I would like to see happen. I don't know if it's going to happen before the election, but I'm just giving you guys the information that's out. And so he is tripling down on Social Security reform. Okay, so he's talked about this in the past. Now you hear him talking about it again. He's talking more about expanding Social Security. I'd like to hear more of that in the future. We'll have to see if we do hear more of that. And then on the other side, former President Trump. What is he going to talk about when it comes to Social Security? The only thing that I've heard him say so far is he's not going to cut Social Security or Medicare. He would never cut Social Security or Medicare. But I have not heard a proposal coming from him yet. And so we'll have to see if he talks about expanding Social Security. So I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.